Hello again, everybody. This is Raj Giri with the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I am hosting this evening because our Glenn Rubenstein is actually at the event tonight. Joined here with Matt Morgan. Matt, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good. What a great show.
Man, that was, I thought, one of the best pay-per-views of the year in a lot of ways.
Dude, really, really good. I mean, the challenge, because for so many years, you look at women's wrestling as one type of genre, if you will, right? One type of corner of let's say, a four-corner square of the industry, right? Like there's cruiserweights, there's women's wrestlers, there's heavyweights, whatever. So to have a whole pay-per-view with just of the same genre, you would figure it would get old, right? It would eventually feel of the same flavor every match. Not at all. Every match was different. They did such a good job of keeping everything different. Even stuff that didn't have a storyline felt different. And I was into the whole damn show from top to bottom. This is one of my favorite pay-per-views, if not my favorite of the year. I'm being dead serious.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. I thought, I mean, there's minor things here and there. Like I would have closed the show with Charlotte and Becky. I thought that was just an awesome match. I just felt like I understand wanting to close it with Rousey. She is the biggest star, male or female, in the company by far. But
dude, listen, I would have agreed with that. And Becky versus Charlotte is my favorite storyline in wrestling right now. It just is. That said, I've got to be very frank. That last match held my attention way more. And the reason I'm thinking it is because I had such low expectations of it, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it. But the bottom line is the very finish of that main event with Ronda walking down the aisle with those little girls in awe as she's high-fiving them and talking to them one by one. You can't write that crap. You just can't. And that was a hell of a finish. I just thought it was tremendous.
I agree. The one thing I didn't like, and we'll get to it.
Yeah.
I don't like when they have the faces and heels at the end all being
yay. Yeah, we did it, guys. Yeah, but yeah, okay. Yeah, I feel your point on that.
All right. All right, so let's get to it. So the show opened with Trish Stratus and Lita against Mickie James and Alicia Fox. Alexa Bliss came out. She was in Mickie James and Alicia Fox's corner. She was out injured. So it was great to see her on the show. I was worried she wasn't going to be on the show at all. So she cut a promo. It was great. And the crowd was this crowd was awesome tonight.
Right?
They were into it. Dude,
Glenn went to a good show, man.
Yeah. I'm sure he's not regretting it now.
Right.
And the crowd was hot for the show all night. And this match itself, it was a fun opener. Man, Lita and Trish, they haven't wrestled a singles match in over a decade. And I thought they looked, there were some sloppy spots, but for how long it's been since they've been wrestling full time, I thought this was a really solid opener and really fun.
I mean, to open up a show with, give WWE credit. They open up WrestleMania one year with AJ versus Shane. Like they do the opening match where you're like, wow, they're giving us this right away. Holy crap! I thought this match would be later on in the night. This is exactly what I said with this match. I was like, damn, they're putting these two Hall of Famers out there first. Wow, but I'm grateful they did because it was a hell of a start, like you said, to set up the rest of the show.
Yeah, I thought it was clear that they were going for an NXT look and feel. Like they dimmed the crowd. They had the lighting that they use for the takeover shows where you can't really see the crowd. But the crowd was very NXT-ish. Like they were into it. They were hot. And they were
responsive.
And they were polite too. There was a spot there where Alicia Fox missed breaking up the count. And the ref kind of like paused and waited and the crowd didn't shit on it. They were actually pretty polite about it.
And keep in mind, it's a Northeast crowd. They're usually incredibly rough.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see. Yeah.
Yeah. So Trish picked up the win, pinning Mickie James with the chick kick. I like that too. They had that long rivalry, and it kind of a footnote on that.
Yeah. No, definitely they did. Mickie bridges the gap between the two generations when you think about it. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah. So after that, they had a promo with the Bellas, dedicating their match to Ronda Rousey's mom.
Heat. Heat.
That was great. So Glenn and I were tweeting during the show, and he noted that there was a ton of people with Bella Twins merchandise, like more than anyone else, more than Ronda, anyone.
Yeah, wow. Well, you know what? It's that show, man. They're stars. I mean, I get on them a little bit about saying they're boring. I don't really like seeing them wrestle that much. It's just mean to say, but that's the truth when I'm asked. But dude, you got to give credit where credit's due. They're super over because that show that they're on, they are bona fide celebrities now. They just are. That show does pretty good ratings. It's always on, and they're getting a different demographic now to come out and start watching the show a little bit. And if they don't do that, it at least with our normal fans, the normal wrestling fans, in their eyes, they look a little bit larger than life than normal because of that show. And they've improved. They've been there for years. And you're right. This whole time I've been thinking Daniel Bryan's wife was the better of the two. No.
And Nikki was great tonight, I thought.
Oh my God, is she good? Yes.
Yeah.
We'll get into it, but God dang, she was great tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. So next up, we had the 20-woman battle royal. The winner getting a title shot. Tons of people. Naomi, Michelle McCool, Ivory, Sonya. Ivory is 56 years old, dude, and comes out just shredded.
Dude, that's Ivory, man. She only had an ounce of fat on her. Never had, never will. She's a badass too in real life. I love Ivory.
My God, Alundra Blaze. They're not letting it go that Medusa is a better character for Alundra Blaze, are they?
What do you mean? Oh,
like they should call her Medusa. Alundra? But since Alundra Blaze is their creation, they're sticking with that.
You know what? I didn't even pick up on that. That's how horrible I am. I didn't pick up on that. I should have.
Yeah, she's 54, looks fantastic. It's crazy. Sonya Deville, Carmella, Zelina Vega, Kelly, Tamina, Ember Moon, Lana, Maria Kanellis, who had a baby 5 months ago and looks just fantastic. Mandy Rose, Molly Holly, Dana Brooke, Nia Jax, Tori Wilson, Asuka, Ivory, Billie Kay, and Peyton Royce. They came out last. The Iconics, I like their act in NXT, but it's just not working for me on the main roster. It just seems
it's very slow, and there's something there that's missing. I don't know what it is, and it's a shame because those two girls are money. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's just I think it feels like they're trying too hard. Like,
is it that or they give them crap material?
It could be both because it just feels like it's too easy what they're doing. Like if you're an 8-year-old playing pro wrestler, that's the kind of stuff you'd be doing. You know, I don't know. So they came out ripped on Long Island. But yeah, this battle royal way better than I would have expected. I mean, this obviously battle royals are a way to just throw people on the card that didn't get to make it on the right. A singles match or a tag match. And I thought this was really good. There were some hot spots. Ember Moon threw out Asuka that got a ton of heat. Zelina Vega, it came down to Nia Jax and Ember Moon. Zelina Vega had been hiding under the ring, and they teased. They did this little spot where it looked like she was going to throw them out, but they didn't. And Jax pressed Vega, threw her over the top, and hit her onto Tamina. And it looked like she hit Tamina in the face with her knee. Did you see that?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, so hopefully she's okay because that looked brutal.
She wasn't bleeding, all right.
They kind of cut away pretty quick, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, those things happen. That happened. I mean, gee, I got a concussion once from catching Carlito simply by getting a knee to the side of the head by accident. And Big Show threw him on me. Yeah,
for sure. It didn't look like anyone was at fault. It was just one of those weird. Yeah, it was just a weird landing. So the ending. Ember Moon kept clotheslining Nia Jax, but Nia Jax caught Ember Moon, power bombed her, and threw her out of the ring. So
this is who should have
Nia Jax won.
This is who should have won. This makes sense. I love the setup later on in the show. The irresistible force versus the baddest woman on the planet, as she said. That was cool. I like it.
Did you ever watch? And we'll get into this more later. But did you ever watch that Chi-Town Rumble back in the day where Ric Flair won and Terry Funk came out at the end and congratulated him and ended up with Terry Funk attacking Flair, putting a plastic bag over his head?
Yes.
I would have loved if they did that kind of ending with Nia and Rousey, where Nia came out, congratulated Rousey, and then just kicked the crap out of her. Imagine the heat. It would have been a heated angle instead of the feel-good angle, but it would have been awesome.
It definitely would have, but WWE needed that ending tonight because they're WWE. They are Walt Disney World, and this was a big celebration. This was the first ever of its kind. They needed to have that moment. I know you don't like the ending with everyone coming out, but they needed that for their video packages, for their photos, for everything, for that matter. Because again, they're Disney World.
It is. It was a Disney ending.
Yeah.
And next up, we had Io Shirai versus Toni Storm in the Mae Young Classic final.
Yeah.
Another really strong match. I thought.
Hell yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Dude, is that lady? Is that girl really like the best Japanese wrestler or whatever?
It depends who you ask. But she's spectacular. I think Asuka, when she was in NXT, showed like when she was there, I thought she was one of the best wrestlers in the world. And then she moved to the main roster, and they, kind of basically buried her to the point to where she is now, to where she's just another wrestler. She's
a cartoon of herself. But yeah, you're right.
And Io Shirai doesn't have the charisma that Asuka does, so I don't see her.
Asuka does got some charisma, boy. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're right.
But Toni Storm, I think she is. She checks all the boxes.
Exactly what I was just gonna say. I was gonna say check all the boxes. I said she's like a 10 across every category.
Yeah.
She really is. You're right.
Yeah, she's got the look that Vince likes. She's 22, can go in the ring.
She's 22.
22.
Wow.
Insane. So as long as she keeps her head straight and everything, she's going to be a gigantic superstar.
That's kind of prodigy level, bro. 22 years old, doing all that stuff, hitting freaking like I couldn't. Well, because I'm too big, probably, but still, I could never hit a suplex on the side of the ring apron like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, the stuff she was doing was just stuff that you don't do for years into the business.
Yeah. The crowd was good in this match, not as hot as the previous one, but they were still really good.
Right. Yeah.
And considering this had no build-up on TV.
And not mainstream characters that every 8-year-old has seen week in and week out. Sure. But this was a good match. These two girls were elevated, and that's good.
Yeah. So the finish saw Io go for a moonsault. Storm got her knees up and hit the strong zero for the pin.
Can I just point out something? Why does it have to be an Asai moonsault? Like, seriously, is that racist? It'd be like, why does it have to, whatever you want to call it, why does it, because she's Japanese, does it have to be called an Asai moonsault versus a moonsault?
I just think some things get so ingrained. It's like, a tombstone. It had been done before The Undertaker, but
did they call it a moonsault? Like, for instance, when other girls hit it, do they call it an Asai moonsault? No. Very rarely, if ever. Yeah, Lita didn't call it an Asai moonsault, I don't believe, when she was hitting it.
So they only call it when a Japanese wrestler hits it, is what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Like, why does it have to be an Asai moonsault because a Japanese female does it? Like, what the hell? It's called a moonsault, guys.
Yeah. People pointing out that, she's 23, not 22. So minor correction. Started when she was 13.
Come on. What?
That's dedication, man.
Wow. Well, that explains it.
Dude, you look at her, some of the other women out there, Tessa Blanchard. I mean, there's some great talent out there.
Brother, yes.
No.
This is the biggest talent pool of women, of top-notch, top-flight athletes they've ever had to pull from.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And it's showing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, really strong match. Toni Storm with the win.
Yep.
They got this UK division.
Yeah.
Toni Storm would be wasted in there. She needs to be on the main roster.
What? Oh, yeah.
Because it's a network special no one watches. It's on Wednesdays. Now they're starting next week. They're doing 2 hours, but she maybe use her for both, but you don't keep her off the main roster because she's on the NXT UK show, in my opinion, because I think there's just way too much potential.
I missed that. I didn't know she was on that show.
Yeah. So she's on there.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I just think there's
her off there.
Yeah, she's too much of a star to keep
Hell
her on
yeah.
there. So next up, this was something I complained about on Twitter, not because of the match itself, but because of what it could have been. Bayley and Sasha Banks and Natalya versus the Riot Squad. Now, what I mean by what it could have been is they've been teasing Sasha and Bayley since February. They should have been having a heated grudge match on this show. Instead, it's the 6-man tag that doesn't mean anything.
And Bayley saving her and doing stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I just felt like it was just kind of a throwaway match, but
it was
really good, but it was also storyline wise, it is nothing. They've been trading wins And they traded here. Sasha picked up the win with the frog splash on Liv Morgan after Bayley hit the flying elbow and suicide dive onto the rest of the Riot Squad outside the ring. So, that was really good. So on that aspect, I can't complain, but I just think there's so much more you could be doing with Sasha and Bayley. Sasha's a superstar. Start utilizing her.
Yep, I agree.
Up until this point, what did you think of the show?
Very good first half. Really, if we're judging it on 100%, I'm giving it like 35% right now, and I'm banking on the rest of the show really hitting home.
Yeah. So about the Asai moonsault, that's actually named after Ultimo Dragon. His name is Yoshihiro Asai.
Yes, great. We know that.
I did not know that his name was Asai. I should have known that. Anyway.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is, why was it attached to a Japanese wrestler
it should be,
doing a moonsault?
Yeah, it should be everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. So no heel turn here, nothing. It was just a standard match, but still really good. Up next, you had Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler from the NXT Women's title. Again, another really good match, really strong. At the end, the horsewomen, Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke, interfered, and it caused Shayna Baszler to get the win. So she regained the title. I thought this was very good as well.
Yes,
Kairi Sane is such a great babyface. She just has that personality, that look that you just get behind. And Shayna Baszler's like the perfect bully.
She has great charisma too, by the way. What's the girl's name? The first one?
Kairi Sane.
Kairi Sane, I'm sorry. She's got great charisma as well. Great babyface, great selling, great fire when it's time to pick it up. She's money. I think her gimmick is super corny. Yeah. But I don't mind it anymore. I guess I'm used to it, and I just love watching her wrestle, I think. So it takes over more than a stupid character does. But what was I going to say? This is exactly what I was telling you earlier about, like, they keep you, like, every match was different, right? Every match was a different flavor. Mm-hmm. And this was a great example of it because this delved into the NXT part of the women's wrestling. Earlier, you saw, the UK wrestler, and better yet, a Mae Young Classic finalist match, right? Championship match, if you will. So that was a different flavor. Do you know what I mean? Then a six-woman tag, that was a different flavor. Like, so they did a really good job of doing that because I was really worried about everything becoming the same flavor of the evening.
Yeah.
And they did a great job of not doing that. And it shows that women's wrestling, I'm being dead serious, can run on its own if they ever wanted to do its own show. I really believe that.
But to that point, if men and women are equal, then should you have separate pay-per-views then, right? It should be same show. They trade off. Like, what's the most important storyline? What's the important match, right? Like
reciprocity, my friend. Years and years of being friggin' like you heard Alundra Blaze say, being, come watch Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan and at the bottom of the marquee, Alundra Blaze, and other women's or whatever she said. You know what I mean? It's just like it's a chance they put it all out there, saying not only are girls good, but they get their own. They're good enough to have their own pay-per-view. And again, I think they're good enough to have their own show. I think they're deep enough to have their own show, I should say.
I think they're deep enough. I think the danger would be the taping schedule and it airing on the network. It's all the logistics of it. If they had an hour after SmackDown on USA or something, I think, that'd be awesome. But if it's on the network and they tape it after, that's where I see the problems. But I agree with you. Kairi Sane, I don't know this pirate thing. I don't get it. She's so likable that she gets away with it.
Yes, exactly right.
If Shayna Baszler was doing that,
anybody else was doing that.
Yeah.
Paul Burchill was doing that.
And that worked wonders for him.
I was just, you let it get by, but on the main roster, I would argue it would not.
Yeah, I think she needs to change that. But she's just got this very likable thing. Like, she's like Daniel Bryan in a lot of ways. You just automatically get behind her.
You automatically do. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So after that, we had Becky Lynch versus Charlotte in the last women's standing match for the SmackDown Women's title. Good God, this match. I mean, they pulled out all the stops.
They did.
Man, there was ladders, chairs. There was a point where they just took turns throwing chairs into the ring. and which was cool. Like I can't remember the last time I'd seen that, so it definitely felt very. It had that feel of an old school grudge match.
It did. It did. Again, this is my favorite angle. It really is in wrestling. How do you criticize that match, right? How do you can't really put it down at all. It was really that good. Again, we'll get into the main event, but I still was a little bit more entertained, very surprisingly and shockingly, I'll even say, than that match. Because this match I thought was going to bring it home, and it did. And I thought it was going to smoke the main event and anything else on that card.
Yeah,
it was a great match.
I thought it was awesome. I'm going to throw this to the people in the chat. The last man women standing match. I guess this was the first ever last woman standing, but last man standing match that was better than this. I can't think of one. I thought it was great, and I liked the clean ending. It wasn't gimmicky. Well, I mean, in recent, like in the last couple of years.
What did you think of Cena taping Batista?
I thought it was clever, but it was gimmicky too, right?
Yeah, okay. That was the last one I really remember standing out of my head as, oh, wow, this was pretty good.
Gargano and Ciampa, they didn't do a last man
standing.
Was that a last man standing?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
I'm almost positive, yes, they did. And it was money.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm definitely not saying this is the best of all time, but it's the best one I've seen in a while.
And we're
Gargano and Ciampa.
But we're talking on the big brand here. We're not talking NXT.
Yeah.
Let's keep it to SmackDown Raw,
Yeah.
And I think you might be right in quite a while.
Yeah. And I thought this was, I hate dividing it up into women's and men's. I thought this was one of the best matches in a while. I think this was.
Period. Yes, yeah. I agree with that. I would agree with that. And that's, again, even more in the main event, but we'll go.
Yeah. So this match was just awesome. I mean, it was just brutal, clean finish for a last woman standing match. The end of the match saw Charlotte. Let's kind of get. Let's see. They were fighting outside the ring. Becky hit her with a flying leg drop onto a table, and that was the 10 count. It was like a half hour. It was really good.
No. The 10 count was a power bomb off the top through the table.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was the power bomb. Yes,
and it was nasty. And
through the table.
And that was like one of like 3 or 4 just bombs that were given to Charlotte at the end there. All the chairs, all the desk chairs that were put on top of Charlotte as well to stay down for the 10 count. Well thought out. Just so many cool things like that they did. But the bottom line is that the fans' reaction to Becky is just, I like that Cole put it over, that they're not ignoring it, that the fans are cheering for Becky. Do you know what I mean? Because Becky's supposed to be the heel in all this, right? But like the fans are behind her because they watched her play that third fiddle at first versus, when the 3 of them came out, she was the third of the 3. But when it went Charlotte, it went the Boss, and it went then Becky, I would argue.
Yeah.
And if you go back and watch, that's how they were always perceived and booked even, right? And God, Becky, people watched it. They're like, she's so good. And she's so, she's a crowd favorite. All the girls loved her, the little girls, all the fans, everybody loved her. And then she finally getting her moment in the limelight. And it's like, why would we want to boo that? I don't care what she says. We're so happy for her finally. And, the fan, I like how Cole didn't ignore that and then did say that, he acknowledged that the fans there's a lot of fans that are behind her because they've seen her, they believe she was held down as well, I believe is what he said.
Yeah. And, Becky dominated a lot of the early portions of the match. That made me think that Charlotte was winning. So I
was very for certain Charlotte was going to win because it was the first ever all women's pay-per-view. And you know how they try to do Charlotte because Charlotte, I'm sorry, I love Becky Lynch to death, and she's a very close friend of mine. She really is. But Charlotte is the real, I don't know what the word is. You said earlier, check all the boxes. She's that and then some when you talk about what WWE looks for in their talent, right? She's got every gift. So, I thought for sure she would get, Brock Lesnar treatment, that she would win. You know what I mean? On the biggest stage for the women, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And kudos for WWE to...
Yes. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, good. 100% right, Raj, for being disciplined enough and going, but that's not the right way to go right now. Becky's hot. This will mean more for Becky because it did. I mean, Becky coming out of there with a clean win. That's a big deal.
Yeah. I think they should do Becky and Ronda. I think that Becky's got so much steam on her that
If she has this much steam all the way to Mania, bro, oh yeah. But
and we're getting close to Mania season. We're only
where we at?
November is a couple days away, and January is basically when Mania season starts. That's when the build starts with the Royal Rumble and everything. So we're getting close.
But then 6 months to April, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But this is when they start piecing together the big matches. There's no obvious big matches for WrestleMania this year. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and what's the deal with Brock? If Brock wins, not that he's gonna, but like, can he still do both? Technically,
I mean, I think with Roman being out, I think WWE will probably. I could see them allowing him to do that. I mean, they allowed him to fight. When he was under contract with his last fight against Mark Hunt. So I could see them making an exception. But if he does fight, that would probably be like February, March at least. And so that's kind of towards Mania season. So we'd have to see, like, what kind of condition he's in afterwards. I don't know. It's and even with Brock, who is there? That's like a big Mania match.
I mean, I'll always say, guys like AJ, but, I know what you're saying. There's not an automatic big marquee name. But see, I've always looked at AJ on the level of Roman, I'll be honest, for what I like to see, for like what I like to pay money to watch. I understand AJ's not on the level of Roman across the globe. Like, I understand that.
Yeah.
As far as marquee name value goes, I understand that. But for my money, I'd love to see AJ in that slot, but whatever.
Yeah. Some people are bringing up Lesnar versus Kurt Angle.
Daniel Bryan as well. If they just did Daniel Bryan right, finally, good Lord, they've got one built in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They stopped friggin' playing these stupid games with the kid. That dude was a main event WrestleMania draw. Not main event match, draw.
I mean, I see what you're saying. I mean, I think those would be fun matches, but are they like the dream matches that you have at wrestling? Like the big marquee, getting the mainstream. Yeah, there's nothing they got left. Like even with Triple H, unless they bring Batista back, and then you've got two people that are combined age of near 100.
I don't know. I don't want to see Triple H versus Batista in the main event at WrestleMania.
Yeah, same here.
But see, that's why we got to be careful, because what you're saying is you do want to see that marquee match. They don't have that. That just tells them, well, we need Batista versus Triple H. And lo and behold, that's what we start to get advertised. The fans are going to start crapping on it eventually before we get there.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
It's just, the way Vince thinks with who he sees as a top star. And
I know exactly what you're saying. I think everybody knows what you're saying. Yeah, you're right.
So up until this point, no mention of Crown Jewel. I thought a smart move.
There was. Yes, there was.
No, and now they did it. Here is where they did the full rundown of the Crown Jewel card.
Oh, I thought they did it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so that seemed to me to be extremely tone deaf on this show. You're promoting a show 5 days later where the women aren't even allowed. This show was pretty much done as a way to take the heat off for having that show, and you still promote it, even though it's not going to add any interest to that show. You didn't need to promote Crown Jewel on this show.
That was not a smart move. Not smart at all.
It just seemed just extremely tone deaf.
Tone deaf is the exact word to use too. Yep.
Yeah. Final match of the night: Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella, Raw Women's Title. Rousey kind of tossing Nikki around early on. Rousey is just so strong. I'm always worried that she's going to injure someone with how she tosses him like that.
Yeah. Yep.
But she hasn't. So and then Nikki finally got the advantage. Dominated for a while. This is where I felt like I really had to suspend my disbelief to see Nikki Bella dominating Ronda Rousey for that period of time, but they did a good job with it. No, I thought
they did a very credible job of it. Are you kidding me? They were two flies on bleep every opportunity they had. There was not a millisecond wasted on double teaming her at the right time and behind the ref's back. And it was very, very well done, actually. That's what really impressed me far and away the most with this, was the use of her sister on the outside and how aggressive it was. It was incredibly aggressive. It wasn't like this foo-foo crap where they're taking care of one another or whatever. It was stiff, and it was exactly how it needed to be. And I was actually really surprised by it. I really was. The littlest things too. Ronda's gotten so good on the sell and taking certain moves. Like, let me explain to you guys watching at home how hard this is. Laying on the corner under the turnbuckle, all right, and you're selling. For someone to grab you by your head, and you have to do a sit-up as fast as you can and smash your own head into the damn post without really splitting your head open and getting your hand up quick enough to do so. Guys, I couldn't do that. There's 50% of that roster couldn't do that. That's not easy to do. It's easy to do when you're standing on the outside and someone takes you head first into the not turnbuckle, but the post. Okay, but not in a laid down position like that. I was super impressed by Ronda on that. I really was. And then it just looked vicious. She didn't get any breathing room. And that's exactly how you need to treat her, because that's how you treat a giant, by the way. That's the heat that people would put on me or other big guys that are like when I'm in a ring versus someone who's very small, for instance, and there's someone in their corner, like their manager. That's how it's got to be. That's the psychology that makes sense to everyone watching. And I thought Nikki did a great job. There wasn't any, I honestly couldn't find any spots in there where I was like, okay, this is hokey. Ronda would just, start killing her here. I thought it all was perfectly put out there. When they're both at full strength, Ronda would ragdoll her and play around with her just like she did in the beginning. But when there's 2 against 1, when you're not being able to see you getting attacked from behind your back, I don't care who you are. You know what I mean? Someone takes your hand and smashes it into a friggin' pole, you're going to have a bad day at the office. And it made sense. All of it. No, it was good, bro. And my argument is listen to that arena, because they were all chanting, no, 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 no. When her sister was on the outside during the ring introductions, trying to get her sister some babyface heat, right? During the ring introductions, they crapped all over her, okay? And they were all about Ronda. Go back and watch it again and listen how the tide turned a little bit, because they respected what they were saying.
I agree. I agree with you 100% on that, and I agree with you.
And I hate the Bellas, by the way. I hate them. So I don't like giving them credit.
I agree with you 100% on that. I agree with you. I thought this match was really good. I thought this was way better than I expected it to be. I just think we both follow MMA. We've been following Ronda before WWE. Right. And to see Nikki getting that much offense, I know at some point she can't just destroy everybody, right? But
how can't you suspend your disbelief that she just got what would give you a concussion in 2 seconds? I don't understand what's so hard to believe about that.
It's Nikki Bella. It's not Nia Jax.
It's not Nikki. No, it's not Nia Jax. It's not Nikki Bella. It's a ring post, Raj.
Yeah, but it's Nikki Bella throwing her into the ring post.
There's no head machine. It doesn't matter, Raj. If you run forward with your own head into a pole, you're going to get knocked into next week.
Not if my daughter throws me into it.
It doesn't matter who throws you into it. It's the fact that your head hit steel.
Yeah. If my daughter threw it in and I grazed the steel, it wouldn't hurt that bad. I get your point, but
dude, it didn't even look like that, Raj. Go back.
But this isn't the only match where she's selling 50% of the match, and
that's a different context. We're talking about tonight and tonight's context, and those 2 girls who I don't ever give credit to, I'm giving them all the credit in the world, because and Ronda's selling as well, all the credit in the world, and whoever scripted that match and put it together, all the credit in the world, from her taking a forearm to the face when she wasn't really paying attention to the other sister, and her turning around into an Alabama sign. Everything made sense. It was like this. There wasn't anything in between where Ronda could come up to full strength. There was a little thing in there in the end where she ran and missed her in the corner. That could be kind of that was the only thing in there that I would say Ronda would have kept coming at her in real life. But then again, it's like you can't suspend your disbelief enough to believe that 3 times getting your head rammed into a pole isn't enough to put
here's the thing. Yes, of course. That would hurt, obviously. But look, if you have Brock Lesnar wrestling Tyler Breeze, yes, Tyler Breeze can get lucky and Brock hits the post, but you have Tyler Breeze dominating Brock Lesnar half the match. It hurts his aura a little bit. And they keep doing this over and over with Ronda, where these people that have no credibility are dominating her. Whatever way they get there, and it hurts that special aura that she has. They call her the baddest woman on the planet, and she gets dominated by Alexa Bliss half the match, or in this case, Nikki Bella.
Yeah,
it takes away that special aura that she has.
Here's the problem with that, Raj. Just like, how do you book that, Raj? No one's ever going to beat her then. If she's invincible all the time, why would I pay to see it?
By booking other people that are invincible, like Nia Jax and Asuka. If they had kept Asuka's undefeated streak and been building to that again, we're
so then what? Okay, then what about the 5 other matches that they've got to build to get to, say, Asuka, who's undefeated still, versus Ronda? I'm not paying to watch any of those because I know what the finish is. They're building Asuka versus Ronda, so I got to wait 5 months till I get that. In the meantime, I'm not watching these matches to get there because she's going to roll right through all these people.
She is anyway. She's not losing any of these matches. Why not build something special? Why not build the Hulk versus Andre, the irresistible force and immovable object? The Ronda and Nia, they're both destroying people, and then you get there. Ronda and screw it. Go ahead.
I think that's what they're getting right now with what's her name versus Ronda coming up.
Yeah. All right. Anyway.
Nia.
Yeah. And that's probably, I'm guessing that's going to happen at Survivor Series. So we'll see where they go with Ronda at WrestleMania. I think Becky, just with the amount of steam, I think that's perfect.
Again, they are not my cup of tea, the Bellas. They're just not. Okay. To me, they still represent that women's wrestling that wasn't taken as serious as it is today. Okay. And if anything, they both got really good. They started to improve toward the end of their run in WWE, right? They got when Daniel Bryan came around, you know what I mean? They both seemed to have gotten better right around that time, whatever year that was. All right. And when Daniel Bryan was champion or something like that, right before he was champion, I should say, I noticed the Bellas got really good, much better. But by the same token, the majority of their career, I would argue, they were still the girls that couldn't really wrestle that good.
Yeah.
Not compared to these girls of today's generation, not even close. So they've improved a lot, and I just think I'm just trying to give them credit for finally, you know what I mean? Like, they've actually entertained me during a match, and this isn't the first time they did it versus Stephanie McMahon as well. I was entertained in that match too. I remember.
Yeah, Brie and Stephanie. It was Brie really good.
Stuff, yeah. So I thought they delivered, and I thought they were incredibly aggressive on Ronda. I really do with the double team. I really do.
Yeah. No. It all looked good. Nothing looked like shit. It all looked believable. So the finish saw Nikki hit Ronda with the rack attack. Ronda kicked out. Then got her on the top rope. Hit this. It's like she curled her up and then hit a power bomb, or
it's supposed to be a roll through into the whatever you want to call it, cross arm breaker or arm bar. It's supposed to be a roll through into it. Really, it's not supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be a bump. It's supposed to be kind of a roll. It just got a little clunky there, and nobody cared because it was impressive as hell looking.
Yeah.
The double. What about the spot where she picked her up, both girls up?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that real quick?
When she picked up both girls on her shoulders, she picked up both Bellas and hit them with whatever the hell that was. The big power move where she had both Bellas up on her shoulders.
Yeah, that was awesome. Real quick, Glenn is going to jump on here. He's live at the show. So just send me the info just 2 seconds. But yeah, I thought strong finish. Then at the end, Rousey, they showed Nia watching on a monitor. Rousey walks to the back. Everyone's congratulating. Everyone comes out on stage. Yada, yada, yada. And that was the end of the show. I thought one of the better pay-per-views of the year.
Definitely. For those of you guys that just watch our show and don't watch the actual stuff that we're talking about for whatever reason, this is one I'd suggest you actually go watch. This was a good pay-per-view. Very good pay-per-view. Very well done. Very well written out. very well paced. Even it was really, I thought it hit a home run for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Boo! Oh, where's Glenn?
Should be jumping on. So after this, now we got Crown Jewel this Friday, and there he is. Glenn, can you hear us?
Good. Good, Glenn. I hope you don't get on. How about that?
Don't worry. I'll come
there he is. Whoa!
Hey guys.
Hey, what's up, Glenn? How you doing?
Sitting out here waiting for my lift, sitting on my WWE souvenir chair
Ah.
they gave to me, sitting on the ramp. That main event went on to the point where it stretched the limits of reality and credibility for how long that match should have gone.
Well,
that's what I was saying.
There you go, Raj.
But thoughts overall? What was the thought of the people in the crowd?
It was cool. A lot of casual fans, man. Nikki Bella. Remember we used to talk about how Roman Reigns at the house shows, like moms and kids? Nikki Bella tonight, most merch people were wearing were Nikki. Girls were cosplaying as her. Like her and Ronda, from the women in attendance, seemed like a 50-50 split who they were there to root for. It really played with the live crowd.
So let me ask you this: as far as merch goes, you said a bunch of people had Nikki and Ronda merch. Was there a lot of Charlotte and Becky Lynch merch, or?
Not that people were wearing. We saw some Becky shirts. Actually, Bayley was probably number 2 in terms of what girls were wearing there. Guys too, and Becky and Ronda were probably number 3. Sorry, Matt.
Glenn, but the stuff that was for sale, I don't know if you were able to catch that on the stand, at the shirt stand, t-shirt stands and stuff. Was there anything that you saw or noticed? Did you notice like 10 different Bella shirts versus one Charlotte shirt or something like that?
No, we didn't see the main merch stand, but we did see there was some limited event merchandise. They had a Trish Stratus shirt. They had Alexa merch that was new and different. I mean, it was cool. The overall vibe was good. You know, I wanted to pop on and just see what you guys thought, because here you could definitely tell the people who were here were fans of women's wrestling.
Yes.
They were, you know, in it for the long haul. Nobody left at the main event. No fatigue set in. This was a good time length. The venue was pretty full, and the vibe was good.
They added to the show, bro. No question about it. I love that crowd tonight. Loved them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were saying it came across great on TV. It was a really strong show. What was the crowd breakup, would you say, like percentage-wise, male to female?
About 50-50. There were still some asshole guys during the last match. I'm not sure if you heard it on TV with the Cena and the "You Can't Wrestle" chants.
Oh, no.
But aside from that, it was all very supportive. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And what match came across best to the crowd? Was it, I'm assuming it was Charlotte and Becky.
Becky Charlotte by far. I mean, the Battle Royal was cool. People definitely popped to see all the returning talent there. But Becky and Charlotte, I mean, I was trying to rack my brain. Maybe since the 30-minute Iron Man match between Sasha and Bayley at NXT TakeOver Respect, maybe the most intense women's match that I've seen since then.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So you glad you made the trip?
Yeah, I mean, that match was really cool to see in person. I was shocked Becky retained. We talked about this on the Wednesday podcast. When I heard the rumor that Ric Flair was going to be there, I was just waiting for him to come out and help Charlotte maybe turn heel and cheat to win.
Yeah, I thought he was going to congratulate her after the match. You know, like she wins the title, he comes, gives her the hug.
Yes.
I can't see them having, after everything he's been through, you know, helping her cheat to win. But I thought they were going to do him hugging her to help turn the crowd for her. But I'm glad they didn't do that, because Becky is on too much of a roll to.
And I think, and believe it or not, as crazy as it sounds, it also would hurt Charlotte in the long run. It hurt her the first time around, in my opinion.
I agree. Crowd was huge for Becky, though. And after though, Charlotte did get cheers after the match, but during there were, I mean, man, the boos for her. Could you guys hear that on TV?
Yeah, I could.
And attendance-wise, I heard it was supposed to. What was the reaction to Crown Jewel?
Oh my God, that was the loudest boo of the night.
I thought I heard that. I thought I heard it, dude.
It felt like they muted that quick when they.
Yes.
But anyhow, guys, I gotta go. My lift is coming here, but I just wanted to pop in and say hi. And I won't be back tomorrow, but Matt, I'll see you next week on the podcast.
Real quick, Glenn, what was the attendance like? Was it full?
90% full on the TV side, about 75-80 on camera side.
All right, man. We have a good one. We'll see you soon.
See you, bud.
Bye.
All right, take care.
Can we just make an anecdote here? Who the hell calls it a lift? My lift is here. Was your stagecoach just not available, Glenn? My lift. This guy.
Right. We'll talk more about Crown Jewel tomorrow. Are you surprised that they're sticking with it?
Yes. Are they nuts? Are they nuts? Again, I just got done basically complimenting them and giving them what they want by calling them Disney World. Okay? And then they do this. This is not just tone deaf. This is suicidal. It is. This is a horrible decision, and I don't want them to do it because we love our WWE. We just do.
They keep the
fans.
Business alive. Yeah,
they do, and all your friends work there and things like that. But like, this is gonna be, man. I hope this doesn't get into become a real story and things like that because, again, man, like what's going on there, man? This is not good. This is not good by any stretch, no matter what your view is politically or what you think happened or didn't happen. The bottom line is, guys, and it's coming out more and more, and I shouldn't be talking like this on here, is that the Crown Prince did know what would happen, is what's going to come out. And WWE went there, and that's going to all be people are going to talk about. And I'm shocked they're doing this.
Yeah, I mean, there is so one analyst came, and again, this is one analyst. So no one really knows what WWE's deal with Crown Jewel is. One analyst said that WWE is getting $2 to $3 million profit for this event, and I kind of find that hard to believe. First of all, we don't know if they make 40 to 50 million per event or around 20 million, because that's not going to be clear until the next earnings report. If they're making 40 to 50 million, there's no way they're making 2 to 3 million profit. There's no way their expenses are $38 million for this event.
No. Where did you hear that? Who said that?
This analyst told Deadline. Everyone's hanging on to that figure. And because they're like, oh, they're only making 2 to 3 million profit, it's not worth it. So if they're making close to 40 million profit per event, that's 2 events a year, close to $100 million a year, 80 million. Again, I'm not defending it, but it's not as easy as a decision as it seems when you're thinking of $80 million per year over 10 years and you're busting that contract by not going. I don't think they should go. I think it makes them look bad in all realms, but that's a ton of money. It's not as easy a decision if that's put on you where you're told 15-20% of your income every year is going to be affected.
Here's the thing, and it's probably the truth. Sadly, wrestling, especially WWE, may be Teflon enough because it's the only game in town. Keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. All right, that if they do this and people are up in arms over it, and they are incredibly upset, it becomes a front page story. It still will exist. It will still continue to move on. Do you see what I'm saying? So maybe that's the way they see it. I don't know. But there's the profit you're talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. The profit's way more than that. Way more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if it's $20 million per event, and you're assuming, let's say Brock on the high end is getting $5 million and Shawn is getting $2 million, and the rest I cannot see them having another 13 million in expenses to only have 2 to 3 million profit. So you're talking about, it's a ton of money. And it sucks that it has to be put that way, but realistically looking, that's a big chunk of revenue that they would be forfeiting every year. And it sucks that you have to put it that way, but that is the truth.
It is. Yeah. And then the people we're going to ask is what's worse, to pass up that profit or to have that black eye labeled on your company for ever how long it lasts.
Yeah.
But they're doing the right thing politically by putting the heat on the president by saying, do you know what I mean? Because everywhere I read, that's what I keep seeing, is that they're waiting to see what President Trump says.
Well, Trump kind of came out against Saudi Arabia. Like he kind of basically said, now he doesn't believe their story.
Right. He definitely said that, but he's still not yet condemned it.
Right.
He is not yet broken out of his own agreements with them, and things of that nature. So that's the cover, to my understanding, WWE can kind of go under. Supposedly. I don't understand how that works because the public perception is what matters. It doesn't matter. You see what I'm saying? The public perception is that the Prince knew about this and they're still going. That's the perception. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Someone's bringing up Benoit, all the bad publicity they got from that. This is...
And they still moved on, though. This is worse, but they still moved on.
Right,
is my point. They still existed.
Right. And Benoit, it wasn't like something they could control. It was a freak thing. It made the business look bad because, the drug use and all that came out. But this is their choice that they're going over there.
Yeah. It's a conscientious decision on their part. You're right.
And last thing, one surprising thing, one thing about WWE since forever, it's been based on live events, right? Like when growing up as a kid, everything was to push the house shows. House shows now are barely making any money, or they're breaking even now. And so that's kind of a surprising thing, that it's getting to the point now where it's all TV and the live events, they're barely breaking even. Does that surprise you at all?
It does. But it also lends itself to, we don't have those major mega stars, and that's WWE's fault and no one else's. Yeah,
exactly. I was going to say, when you do the 50-50 stuff, no one seems special.
Right.
You see that with Ronda Rousey. It's kind of what I was talking about. She was this larger than life star, and now every week she's just becoming another person.
You're right. In that regard, you're right.
Yeah. And you see, Brock and Undertaker, all these guys that are from the past.
But here's the thing. People did pay to go see Shawn Michaels, and Shawn sold his ass off. You didn't know he was always going to win. You know what I mean? And so, like, I don't know. It's not just a one-person thing. When wrestling was really hot, it's because everybody was clicking on all cylinders. There was like 13 different characters on a show that you would be excited to see. Yeah. Now, it's like you can't get one.
But you remember when Shawn was champ, though, when he won the title, that was kind of a dark period in WWE. That's when they started losing to Nitro every week. They lost for a year and a half.
Yeah, that's
their
true,
business was going downhill. They didn't have that until Steve Austin came in. That's when it came back. Like it kind of went from Hogan to Austin, and they tried to push Brett. Brett became a big draw later, but when they first started to push him, and then later Shawn and Diesel. Brett, Diesel, Shawn, none of those guys clicked until Austin. As far as a big,
but they didn't have to run roughshod through everyone. Is what I'm saying. They could sell. You didn't worry about, oh my God, they're selling too much. It's not realistic looking. Yeah. That wasn't even a concern. You know what I mean? They could sell, and you'd be fine with it. And again, more importantly, you still had guys like Undertaker who were like 3 matches down,
right,
from the main event at the time, and Kane and all these other huge stars that were just bigger than life. It's such a deep roster of top flight stars. We don't have that anymore.
Yeah. One last thing, Roman Reigns, obviously that was just everywhere. Mainstream media picked up all over it. It was on CNN, all the major.
I really liked that Madison Square Garden thing. I thought that was really, really touching.
It was amazing. I did an article on it. There was an article on MLive that said that he had to leave the NFL due to a serious illness, which you would assume would be the leukemia. Then he went to the CFL. So it was about a year between the two. So his last battle with leukemia, there are so many different kinds. It's hard to know which one he has. But the last time it was about a year. Hopefully it's not one of the, because it's a life-threatening disease. So depending on which type you get. So hopefully it's nothing too serious, and he'll be able to come back.
Yeah.
If he comes back, I mean, good God, he's going to be the biggest babyface ever.
I mean, you what do you say to that, right? I'm still kind of numb whenever I think about it,
Yeah.
What that man's about to go through right now. Yeah. But you're right. When he comes back, I mean, you can't crap on him anymore, folks. I hate to break it to you.
He's got a toddler, twin boys, 2-year-old twin boys.
That's
crazy.
Real life superhero shit, people. Real life superhero stuff right there. Yeah. So God bless him. I think he will. I think he'll fight through it, and I can't wait to see him come back.
Yeah. Someone's asking if I don't know if I should ask this.
Okay.
All right, I'll ask it. If he would have been a bigger babyface if people knew he battled leukemia the first time, I don't think so, because I think it's after the fact, and it doesn't hit as much as when it happens in real time, if you know what I mean. Like if you find out an athlete had a big battle in the past, it's just not as, I don't know. It's just.
I'll be honest with the folks, and I'm always a straight shooter with you guys watching. It makes me feel dirty answering that question. Even it does. It makes me feel scuzzy. So
yeah, that's why I didn't want to. That's why I almost didn't ask it.
Yeah, it just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't feel. It feels weird. I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that. Quite honestly, I don't know. If you were to make it like a storyline, I get like, is that what he's asking? Like, if we knew ahead of time before he was introduced as part of the Shield, and that's part of his intro package, like, hey, this guy's also battled. Like, come on, I don't understand how that works.
Yeah. I don't think that would have made a difference ultimately, because again, I don't know. It's just things in people's past. I don't think it sticks until you're there. I don't know.
I mean, those folks that night, they went through that emotion with him.
Yeah.
With him, like as it happened, everyone's jaw dropped, all collectively across the world that watched that. All of ours did, right? So everyone's now with him. And the bottom line is, let's just get him through this. Let's have him fight through this and get it. And then when he comes back, then let's talk about that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously we're thinking of Roman. Hopefully it's sooner than later, and he beats it and comes back stronger than ever. So,
he's gonna.
All right, man. Well, we'll see you tomorrow night. You got anything to plug?
No, not tonight. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for your comments always on Twitter and Instagram. You guys are the best fans on the planet. Thank you all for watching.
One thing, you are aware that Lyft is a ride-sharing service.
Yes, Lyft. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Right. But he was very clear to give the company its just due. So just say my ride.
All right, everyone. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow night after Raw.